I'm Mike Murphy. I was a professional water skier. Started in 1966, and I still actually do exhibitions when I'm not hurt. In like 1972, I teamed up with a guy that made knee boards for surfing, and then we started a company called Knee Ski, which was the first knee board. With the knee board, you didn't have the shock absorbers God gave you, which were your knees, so the rough surface of the water would go right through your body and wreck it. So then I figured, man, put a hydrofoil on a knee board would be the hot ticket. So then it was the Sky Ski, the sit-down hydrofoil, which then metamorphosized into standing foils, and now it's becoming wake foil surfing. Probably about 10 years ago, did a front flip, took out my back, herniated 3 discs, and I was like bent over. I was walking bent over for like 6 months. I was bent over so long from my lower back being hurt, it started throwing out my upper portion of my body. I hurt every day. It's agonizing. And it went down the front of my leg. Sometimes I'd feel it in the bottom of my leg, my feet, like I was stepping on nails. It was where I couldn't sleep at night. It sucked. It's really bad. I couldn't ride the hydrofoil or sitting in a boat, bouncing around, teaching people how to ride. And when I make hydrofoils, I go out and test them to make sure they don't glitch, make sure they don't have too much lift. So what I would do is I'd hop on my boat right down there and I'd go out and test all of them. Well, you can't do that no more. I hooked up with a few doctors, and then my sister helped me. She went online and got all the ratings of the doctors. She, there's this guy named Dr. Shiflett in Newport Beach at the sports medicine, spine, disc place, and I think you really ought to check him out. I went to Dr. Shiflett, and the guy was just, you know him, he's the best. And he said, yeah, your back is pretty jacked up. He says, what it is the center of my vertebrae and discs, that hole was closing off from calcium or whatever builds up in there. And then you get the slightest bit of inflammation, and that starts to swell, is pushing on the side. That's where all the pain is from. He talks to you. He explains to you. It's just like, hey, this is what's wrong with you. There's no easy fix. There's no magic. You got to get that stuff out of there and open up that hole. And I just decided, you know what? With the ratings this guy has, and as nice a guy as he is, I'm just going to have him do it. And that was like a really, really good decision. After that surgery, I did some physical therapy. I really pushed myself to get better, and I did get better. And I took it easy. And about 3-4 more months later, I went out on the lake here, did a whole bunch of flips on my ski, bam, 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 bam. Then came in and says, okay, it's fine. Did my back hurt the next day? Yeah, a little bit. So then I said, you know what, I'm gonna give it another 2 months, 2-3 months, whatever, just to get that extra healing in. So I started spending my time on the stand-up wake surf foil. And I was out here riding, and I fell, and I could take a good hit. I mean, I've fallen at over 120 miles an hour on a water ski several times. I've crashed on hang gliders and bounced. I've done a lot of stuff. I know what a good hit is. And I fell this little fall, and I seen stars. I got back and talked to my buddy, Dr. Dave, and he said, man, you get your in there and get an MRI. And I did, and that's about the time I sent it to Dr. Shiflett, and he said, man, you need to get in here now. We need to do this now. And like 2 days later, he was doing it. He did his thing. He just did his thing. And then the next day when I was talking to him, he said, Mike, that is by far the worst neck entry of that type I've ever seen. He says that I really honestly thought you were never gonna walk again. I was in there for a couple hours, and they had me hooked up with wires. My whole body was wired, so that I guess they can read the electricity that's going through that thing. He wasn't getting electricity. It was gone. And he says 2 hours later, I started getting a little bit of spark, or a little bit of juice going through there or something. He said, at which time I figured you had a 50-50 chance of walking again. This is all kind of foggy to me, but what I recollect happened was he said, come back in a week, we'll get you on a walker and see if the stuff's working, So I walked into his office a week later. You're walking? Yeah. And he thought it was like, he couldn't believe that I was walking. I'll probably just go out and ride the sit-down foil and start doing that here as soon as I get the green light from Dr. Shiflett. And then probably by next summer, hopefully I'm going to be out doing flips and ride my wave runner again. So yeah, it's all good. It's good. I'm glad I'm not in the wheelchair.